move on to our next speaker. She is our beloved Srila Bhakti-Vallabh Goswami Maharaj's disciple. Spent many years serving Srila Bhakti-Vallabh Maharaj, and then took Shiksha from Srila Gurudev. I'm not entirely sure when she took Shiksha, started taking Shiksha, but from what I've heard, my source being Ramananda Prabhu, said that she's so dedicated to Srila Gurudev, his mission, his words, his Vani. She takes everything with such great depth and focuses on Srila Gurudev's words and imbibes them. She's a glowing disciple. Actually, these are words that Ramananda Prabhu has used to describe Gita Didi, so I'm just only copying the words of his. But I also believe that it's true. You can see that in the way that you are. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Srimati Gita Didi from Holland. Hari Bol Di.
Hari Bol. Agyana Timirandasya Kananchana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militamyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So I've been listening over the weeks, and one thing I realize from all of your help is that sometimes I think that my experiences or my realizations from being with Srila Gurudev are unique to me. But then when I hear so many others have had the same experience or the same realization, then I'm really humbled. So I appreciate that. So some of the things I say may be repetitive a bit, but anyways, without further ado, in 1997, I was staying in a squat right down the street from the Bhaktivedanta Manor. And one time, some members of the Pandava Sain youth group approached me and asked me if I would like to go to a Nam Hatha program. And I'm always up for a Nam Hatha, so I thought, yeah, sure. And I took the invitation, and then I went to the Nam Hatha, big house. An Indian family's house, and I went in and we started with bhajans and kirtan, and gradually I noticed the descending of the disciples descending on the house, and then I thought, wow, something big is up. And at a certain point, they were distributing magazines, and I got this magazine. And I thought, wow, these deities, they're so gorgeous. Radha Krishna and Mahaprabhu. I've never seen anything like this. And then as I was looking through the magazine, or somehow or other, I realized this is Gaudiya Math. And I thought, oh, Gaudiya Math. Oh, I think I may be doing something wrong by being here. I shouldn't be here any longer. So the main speaker hadn't arrived yet, and I may never know if that was Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj or Srila Bhakti Vallabh Maharaj or maybe Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. I don't know. But I carefully got up and went out the door and went back home because I was afraid that I'm doing something that's not correct. But Krishna and Guru, they're so merciful that I still got many more opportunities. So then in 2001, then I met my Harinam and Diksha Guru, Srila Bhakti Vallabh Maharaj, in India, and I was supposed to be receive Harinam about 6 or 7 different times, and maybe you've heard of this from some of our other acharyas that they tell someone, yes, you come on this day and like fast and wear new cloth, and then I'll give the mantra to you. So I did this like 6 times, and each time for some reason or another I was told, no, today it's not a good day, or so, you come back next week like this. So I kept being turned away, and the same thing several times for Gayatri also. I was told, you just wait for whatever reason. So, but then finally, Guru Maharaj gave me Harinam, and then afterwards, I asked him, can I stay here with you? Can I live here, always be with you? And he said, oh, no, we don't have any sort of facility like that for Western ladies. No, you go back to your home now. Now you go back to your home. And so I went back, and I was heartbroken, and I was crying, and I was praying to Krishna, oh, please send me Vaishnavas. And I think that Krishna must have somehow heard, because then he started giving so much Vaishnava association, more than I ever had dreamed of. So yeah, I was again, staying in my Volkswagen bus, living there in a small village by outside of San Francisco, and then one day these devotees showed up, and they brought me on Nagar Sankirtan Harinam in a health food store. And I thought, wow, this is really far out. And then they invited me to come. They invited me to come to the preaching center of. I'm trying to think of Kasturi Didi in Berkeley, and so I started visiting there, and I stayed there for a couple of weeks. And she's as some of you may know, she received Harinam from Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. She received Diksha from Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami, and did I say Shiksha or Diksha? Diksha from Sridhar Maharaj, and Shiksha from Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami. So I was staying there for a while, and then I heard about Badger, and I think I'd heard that there's this community before, because I had lived in the Bay Area for a while, but I didn't know much about it. I didn't know where it was or anything, who to contact. So then after that, I went to Badger, and I stayed there for a while, and yeah, so I got really the whole deal. And eventually then Srila Gurudev was coming to the US, and I really got so much mercy for about, must have been 6 weeks. First the Badger Festival, then he went to Lake Washington, which was a community of disciples of what's his name? Kirtananda Maharaj, and then he was still in prison. Then to 26 Second Avenue, which is Srila Prabhupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, his first temple, and then to New Vrindavan. So many different experiences with Srila Gurudev. In between some break, traveling, but like really amazing. In New Vrindavan, I remember there was one time we were seeing the Prabhupada's Palace of Gold, and one ISKCON sannyasi who is very very friendly and favorable to Srila Gurudev, was explaining how there was these with Srila Prabhupada's murti there was a pair of Srila Prabhupada's shoes, and that at one point someone just walked off of the shoes. They disappeared when it was still, or when it had like been sort of like strange things going on there, with people chanting, with a big pipe organ, and choirs chanting with a choir and that kind of thing. But then he said, but then when we rejoined ISKCON, yes, and I noticed that Srila Gurudev, very similar to when when my daughter tells me a story, how she was, she was picked up by a princess, and then they went on the back of a dragon and they flew off, and I'm like, oh yes, really? So Gurudev also, when this Maharaj was telling this story of how the shoes were they had miraculously been brought back, as when New Vrindavan came back in ISKCON, I saw Srila Gurudev really not like fighting or saying, this is concoction, or just like, oh really? So very sweet. And then the last day of the tour was coming up, and I was all the time, I was very happy to be there, but I had some like fear that someone will try, someone not believing in my my Guru Maharaj will try and push me to take reinitiation from Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj. I was a bit uncomfortable about that, but the last day of this tour was coming up, this North American tour, and I hadn't even spoken to Srila Gurudev yet. And I was thinking, okay, so when is someone going to, come on, push me and make me talk to this Narayana Maharaj? I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, so push me. When are you going to push me? I'm thinking in my head, and then, it's getting closer and closer, like really the final time, and I'm like, well, yeah, okay, I guess I got to push myself. I'm like, I'm not going to get to talk to you otherwise. So, yeah, I went. And I asked either Madhav Maharaj or Brajanath, so I asked, and then I got to meet with Srila Gurudev, and I asked him, I'm aware of some of the rules for Sri Prakriti, and some of the rules for Pums Prakriti in the Vedas, like Varnashram Dharma. But what are the rules for Tritiya Prakriti? And Srila Gurudev, he laughed and he said, "Oh, I see that you're very new, like a very small baby." And he said, you may chant japa, you may chant Gayatri. There's no any restriction. And then just as the conversation finally finished, then as I was leaving the room, he said, just remember, in Goloka Vrindavan, there's no what did he say? There's no third gender, he said. There's no third gender. And so I left. And then years after that, at some other festival, Gurudev, he spoke to me, and he said, where is your husband? Where are your three children? And I thought, wait a second. I was 100% convinced that he wasn't making a mistake with me. He wasn't mistaking me for someone else. And I was thinking, what does he want? Now afterwards I was thinking I should have just like grabbed his two lotus feet and said and begged him, you tell me who my husband is, where my village is, and all this stuff. But I didn't know what to say at that time. So then let's see, going to let's see. Oh, after that festival, after or no, before that festival, actually I think it was during that first tour that I was very mercifully allowed to attend. Srila Gurudev had asked one disciple to stand up and explain the meaning of Bimala Vaishnava. And so they stood up, and he explained, and he explained how we want to be the same inside and outside with the Vaishnavas, and I was he was really uncomfortable. He was really Gurudev really put him in a hot seat, and I was thinking after that, I was remembering that it made a strong impression on me, this devotee and his situation, and how Gurudev called on him. And I was thinking, well, how do I explain to Gurudev that I have a partner, a female partner, and how do I go about it? But I have to, otherwise I'm hiding something. But I have to, and Gurudev solved it for me. It was in September or October at a European festival. Gurudev saw me, and he came up to me. There was about 100 other devotees around, but he came up to me and he said, which country? And I said, USA, Gurudev. And he said, oh, but I just went there. Why are you here now? And right then I knew Gurudev. He saw my heart, that I wanted to express something to him, share something, and he was facilitating that. So I said, Gurudev, I'm here because my partner lives here, and I still was a little uncomfortable about how I should explain it, but so Gurudev, he asked, is he here at the festival? And it was my partner was working then, or studying, I think, and but she was planning on coming during the weekend. So then I explained, I said, no, Gurudev, she's coming, and I said my partner's coming on the weekend. Later on, through email correspondence, of course, then I explained everything to Gurudev about the situation. And Gurudev heard that. It's not like he was like, oh yeah, great, or but he also didn't tell me, no, that's, you're in complete Maya or something. He just like, did the head nod thing. So yeah, then many years ago, I went to Gurudev to complain that I wasn't included in one particular seva. And rather than give me the temporary satisfaction that I was looking for, he instructed me to make a drama, Uddhava Meets the Bridge Basis. And I had 9 hours to complete it. 9 hours to write it, do the costumes, the directing, find the players, run to get them to come to the rehearsals, find the music, learn my lines, everything. At first I thought, I really did something wrong by, criticizing like criticizing them, and this is my punishment. But later on, I started thinking differently about the whole thing. In the end, I didn't manage to complete the play, but never has anxiety been so vividly related to Sri Guru in my mind as that particular day. I was just seeing like a film roll of like one picture after another. I was seeing pictures of Gurudev in my mind as I was trying to go about these different tasks to make the drama. And so yeah, like when Param Gurudev sent Srila Gurudev to Mathura, Gurudev took everything on his head. He fought in court, he did kirtan, he cooked, he went house to house, made Bhagavat Patrika, like everything. So then I pray, when oh when will I take the burden from Gurudev's mind rather than giving him a headache simply? When will I render Vishrambena Guru Seva? When, like Aruni, will I use my entire Atma in Sri Guru's Seva? When will I, like in this following pastime, be a major domo? This pastime, it's with Srila Bhakti.Tv Maharaj. I don't know if you're familiar with him, everyone, but he's the guru of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, and also the guru of my Diksha guru, Srila. One senior godbrother in 1936, he wanted Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj to report on a brahmachari who hadn't completed his responsibility, which was to arrange everything for a deity installation and for Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's coming there to take care of things. Srila Gurudev was reluctant to anything which would be displeasing to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and it so first refused. Upon being pressed, however, he felt obliged to do as he was asked out of respect for his senior godbrother. Later that day, Srila Gurudev followed Srila Prabhupada when he went out for a walk, fanning him to keep insects away. When they were talking, he told Srila Prabhupada of Asha Maharaja's complaint. As soon as Srila Prabhupada heard it, he became angry and chastised Srila Gurudev, who felt extremely sorry at having displeased him. Srila Prabhupada, however, seeing the effect his words had on Srila Gurudev, immediately changed his mood and began to praise him affectionately. Srila Gurudev was not happy at hearing such praise either, because he took it to mean that Srila Prabhupada felt he would not be able to take criticism. However, Srila Prabhupada took the opportunity to give him many valuable personal instructions that showed the extent to which he held his disciple dear. Srila Prabhupada first said, "Why do you want so much? And why do you let it bother you so much? It is not proper to expect so much service from any one person. Your service to your spiritual master and all its details are your responsibility alone. You should be grateful if anyone else contributes to it in any way. Krishna's major domo is Srimati Radhika. She knows that she alone is entirely responsible for Krishna's pleasure. If anyone comes forward to help her, she is filled with gratitude." Here it is apparent that Srila Prabhupada was saying that it was up to Srila Gurudev to take full responsibility for his service in its entirety. If anyone should come to assist him in the fulfillment of that responsibility, he should be grateful. And that's from Sri Chaitanya. It's his Life and Associates by Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tirtha Maharaj. And so I remember one story related by a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, where Prabhupada, he slammed his fist on the table and he said, there must be anxiety. If there's no anxiety, you'll simply eat and sleep and get fat. There must be anxiety. So may I again be filled with perturbation for pleasing Srila Gurudev. And I think I've covered just about everything. So I'll give the mic back to Yashodanandan.
We'll give it to, thank you, we'll give it to Yashodhara.
Okay.
Gita Didi, thank you so much. Absolutely beautiful. And this thing that I've heard in your Harikatha of actually just surrendering, in a sense that it kind of fits in what Didi and Ramananda Prabhu were saying about just being honest and giving your heart and giving that sincerity of, this is my situation, this is who I am, and please accept it how it is. And I've seen that unless we do that, then there's no going forward until this is just my experience, but until I've done that, then I feel like I don't get the results that Srila Gurudev's given. So I heard that a lot, and I'm just really grateful that you shared your experience with us. So thank you so much for coming on and gracing us with your remembrance of Srila Gurudev.